Hello, third graders. Welcome to our science lesson today on leaves. So we have already talked a little bit about roots and how important roots are to a plant because they help to bring the plant water and nutrients from the soil and also anchor it in the ground so that it doesn't blow over. We talked about stems and how stems transport the nutrients and the water to other parts of the plant as well as the food, and it helps the plant to stand tall. And we talked about that there were two kinds of stems, woody and herbaceous stems. So today we're going to talk about leaves and why they are important to a plant. So if you will go ahead and grab your reading plant structures and your questions. We're going to start by answering those true, false, before questions. And remember, you may not know the answers, and that is okay. So let's look at question number 1. Remember in the true, false, before box, it says chlorophyll is the substance that makes leaves spread out and look flat. True or false? Chlorophyll is the substance that makes leaves spread out and look flat. Put true or false. All right, question number 2. Pine trees do not have any leaves. True or false? Pine trees do not have any leaves. True or false? And the last question, number 3. Plants provide oxygen that animals need to breathe. True or false? Again, plants provide oxygen that animals need to breathe. All right, so now that we've got our brain thinking, let's go ahead and go to our reading. And we are on page 68 in our reading where it says leaves at the top. Follow along with me and we'll talk as we go. Leaves do an important job for the plant. The leaves make food for the plant through a process called photosynthesis. The food that plants make is a type of sugar. The plant uses this sugar to live and grow. So the leaves actually make food. We don't make food, we eat it, but leaves make the food, and it is through a process called photosynthesis, and the food they make is sugar. Here is a picture of some leaves, and I'm sure you've seen them, and the veins that are in them, and these are the leaves that make the food. All right, leaves contain chlorophyll, a special substance that makes the leaves look green. So this is one of those true-false questions. Leaves contain chlorophyll, a special substance that makes the leaves look green. Chlorophyll is found inside special cells called chloroplasts. That's what it's in. The chlorophyll inside the chloroplast act like a tiny solar panel. So some of you might have solar panels or seen solar panels on your house or on people's houses. A solar panel collects heat and sunlight. Chlorophyll is needed for photosynthesis. Remember, that's how the food is made, because it traps the sun's energy. So the plant needs to get the sun's energy in order to make its food. So here is a picture of a leaf that has been magnified under a microscope, and these tiny little green dots, all these little green dots are chloroplasts. The chloroplasts collect and store the energy from the sunlight or any light. So they're like the solar panels. They're kind of like a rechargeable battery that stores energy. Photosynthesis happens in all of the green parts of the plant, not just the leaves. So the leaves, though, collect the sun or the light energy, and all the green parts of a plant make the food. If there's a part of a plant that's green, it contains chlorophyll, which is inside these little teeny circles here. The leaves, though, if you think of leaves of most plants, they're usually the greenest. So that's where most of the photosynthesis happens or their food is made. Pretty cool to see those up close. During photosynthesis, plants use energy from sun to change water and carbon dioxide into sugar. So you breathe out carbon dioxide. If everybody takes a breath in and blows it out, everything you just blew out is carbon dioxide. Remember, water comes from the roots of the plant. Plants absorb water through their roots and move it up through the stem to their leaves, which we've talked about. Leaves take in carbon dioxide from the air through millions of tiny holes on the bottom of the leaf. The light energy, here it is absorbed by chlorophyll, which we looked at already, and it reacts with the carbon dioxide and the water, and it makes sugar. The sugar is then transported from the leaves to the other parts of the plant through the stem, kind of like what we talked about. When the leaves make sugar, so when this happens, all this comes in, sugar is made, then left over is oxygen. The leaves release the oxygen into the air through the holes on the bottom. All animals, including humans, need oxygen to survive and breathe. So you and I need that oxygen to survive. We breathe it in from the air and breathe out carbon dioxide. Plants provide the oxygen that animals and other living things need to survive. So think about that. Plants provide that for us. Animals and other living things provide the carbon dioxide that plants need to make their own food. So plants help us, but we help plants by breathing out carbon dioxide. All right, if we look here, this is again a picture of a leaf. It has been magnified. Here is the teeny tiny hole on the bottom of the leaf called stomatas. And this little teeny hole is what pulls in the carbon dioxide and out the oxygen. And if you look at the leaf, do you see all these little veins running through it? These veins are what then carries or transports the sugar and the water so that the food can be taking place in here. And remember, we breathe out carbon dioxide and breathe in oxygen. The plant takes what we breathe out, the water from the ground and the sun, to make its food, and then gives us our oxygen. Here is a formula for photosynthesis. It's kind of like a math equation. Water plus carbon dioxide and energy from the sun gives us sugar and oxygen from the plant. So it's kind of like a math equation. So if I kind of thought about it, it's like 3 plus 4 equals, or 1 plus 2 plus 4 equals 2 plus 4 plus 1. It's the same thing, just written for photosynthesis, which is the food. Here is the formula written with some specially marked words. Water, we call H2O, plus carbon dioxide, which is CO2. And if we put all that together, this is what our sugar is and our oxygen. Okay, so it's moving around our numbers to represent the different parts. Each letter stands for an ingredient or an element. And then the numbers are how many are included. So water has 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. Carbon dioxide has 1 carbon and 2 oxygen. So this is kind of a picture of it all floating around and how it comes together to make photosynthesis. Plants usually make more food than they need to live. They store the extra food that they make in different parts of the plant. Animals then eat these parts of the plant to get food. So this is a little bit of information about it. Lettuce, spinach, and cabbage are some leaves that people eat for food. Tea is made from the leaves of a tea plant if you drink tea. The leaves from peppermint, oregano, basil, and cilantro plants are used to flavor food. So we eat leaves also, just like we eat stems and roots. Here are some vegetables that we eat. There is some lettuce and cabbage, some spinach. This is a peppermint leaf that you might use for the oils or in your food. Cilantro, basil. Those are all things that we eat from a plant. Leaves come in many shapes and sizes. They may have small, saw-toothed, or wavy edges. Or on pine trees, here they are, the leaves are shaped like needles. So here was one of those questions. Do pine trees have leaves? Yes, they're just called needles. The spines on a cactus are leaves too. So the spines also bring in that sunlight. And here are some pictures of lots of different kinds of leaves. You can see some of them have lots of little parts, big parts, different sizes. Here's pine needles over here. Leaves are all different depending on the type of plant. The larger the leaf, the more sunlight it brings in, and usually that means the larger that the plant is. All right, I will see you next time for our lesson on seeds.